Around Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia to bring you the stories that matter and break down history that has lingering impacts on our community. Everything from a historic center.
You know, the old saying goes, if you don't know where you came from, how do you know where you're going?
To those who paved the way for integration.
I didn't expect them to accept me.
Honoring Black history.
Honoring Black History is brought to you by the Tennessee Education Lottery.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Terry Craig. What was Langston High School in Johnson City has a rich history, as it was the city's school for black students for decades. In 1965, integration took place, causing students to change schools. To begin our coverage tonight, I spoke to those who have strong memories of integration and its impact on our community. Langston High School, Johnson City school for black students for over 70 years. That is until 1965.
You just sort of feel changes coming in. You didn't really know what it was because you're too young to know, but you knew something was happening.
Johnny Russell, Angelita Bradley, and Evelyn Debro all lived through integration. Langston High School was rich in tradition, sports, and clubs, much of which didn't carry over to black students moving to the white schools at the time.
You could have one. There'd be one black cheerleader, one black this, you know, girls, and so it was, I'm sure, harder.
I think that would affect the person when you have worked so hard to get those positions and then you say, you know, you're going to another school and all of that's lost.
Evelyn Debro graduated just before integration took place in Johnson City in 1965, but her younger sister felt the full impact of changing high schools.
But she ended up graduating a year early, but because she went to school in the summer because she just hated school so bad. So I know it had an effect on her.
Angelita didn't experience Langston. She integrated in elementary school at an age where it's tough to understand the significance of the times. For her, there's a bit of disappointment in not getting the Langston experience.
We all miss that. And it really affects you because you see how great the stories that they have that we really didn't get to experience that.
It's been depicted in popular films, and it's no different here in Johnson City. Sports played a vital role in helping whites and blacks find common ground in an uncertain world.
It was some problems with the parents, not the students, because like I said, they all became friends. And I think the guys had a better way of making integration work because they, were sports.
A premier athlete at Langston, Johnny Russell, will be East Tennessee State's first African-American scholarship football player. He says sports helped ease integration.
We looked and saw what the athletes in front of us were. We had athletes that we sort of admired so much, and we couldn't wait to get those colors on.
As he looks back, he says our area avoided many of the higher profile events during the civil rights era. Did integration happen the way that you thought it would go?
You just wonder, well, I just hope it don't turn out where all this fighting and they get up there and start all this stuff up here in Johnson City like it was in some of the most southern states down in Alabama. You know, they had to bus students and have the highway patrol come in and all that stuff to get them in school. I don't think there was any of that there.
That I know of.
Yeah.
But you never know what goes on when your back is turned.
As times have changed, Bradley says it's strange to look back on how life was back in the 60s.
As I got older, I realized, well, that was not right.
Yeah.
And why did we have to sit there? But that's just what you knew.
Fast forward to 2024, when asked what's the greatest challenge facing black students today, Debro says it's division.
People that I thought were my friends, I've heard them say things that have just, I see more division now.
Is that worrisome for you for younger black people in school now? Because obviously it's a completely different experience that, young black kids are experiencing now than decades prior, but that seems as if you're more worrisome about it.
I really worry because they don't know they're black the way we knew we were black. Because they've been been integrated all their life, so they don't know who they are.
The Memorial Fountain on East Tennessee State University's campus is being redesigned. It commemorates the first 5 African-American students who integrated to the campus back in the 1950s. The fountain was damaged due to freezing temperatures, and a committee decided to look for a new design. News Channel 11's Jayana Scurry spoke to a professor and an artist who's a finalist for the fountain's design.
The Memorial Fountain, located in Borchuk Plaza on the campus of East Tennessee State University, commemorates the first 5 African-American students who desegregated the campus in the 1950s. In 2013, the fountain was dedicated to those students. But 10 years later, the sculpture in the fountain broke due to freezing temperatures. Before the sculpture broke, 5 parts in the fountain represented these 5 African-American students who integrated what was then known as East Tennessee State College. Out of this came an opportunity to look for a new design.
We had a large list of artists who actually applied to provide us some visions of what this particular fountain could look like.
Dr. Keith Johnson, ETSU Vice President of Equity and Inclusion and Engineering Chair, says 5 finalists were chosen and that they would like for the new design to be totally different.
Well, we think that creating something that's unique to this fountain is going to really highlight, not just have an image that's standing in the middle of Borchuk Plaza, but we want something that literally tells a story. They were the first African-American students, and given that, that is huge, because again, that changed the trajectory that impacts who we are today. And so we wanted to make a statement. We want it to demonstrate that all students who enroll at East Tennessee State University are welcome to this campus.
That is something multidisciplinary artist Maxwell MKs is looking to portray with his design.
I think that there are very discrete ways in which, African-American students may not feel welcome on campus. I think that it's important for us to have visuals and reminders. I can imagine, black students walking to class and being reminded that they are welcome here, that they do have a place, and they've been here for a very long time.
MKs has been doing research on the 5 who desegregated the campus to be able to better represent their history in his design.
I want to make sure I really pull the narratives and the story and the accuracy of what people were going through, what people believed in, and what it was like for these 5 students to make their way here. And I think that it's super important to localize and be very specific about what made black people great and what made that greatness open up doors for those 5s to feel confident enough to walk through those doors and know that they were going to be okay.
MKs is also an art activist who uses different mediums with his public art displays. He says he starts with a blank canvas, then sees where to start using context.
When you see my art, you may see some bronze, you'll see some different metals, aluminum, stainless steels, wood, fabrics, textiles. Some of my works are interactive, LEDs.
The finalists will submit their designs by February 15th.
In March, we're going to have some presentations done by those 5 artists, and from those presentations, we will start narrowing down to maybe top 1 or 2, and then we want to get the campus involved in providing us their opinions about the design work that these artists have produced.
The artist selection will be announced in April. The projected completion date is in August. In Johnson City, Jayana Scurry, News Channel 11.
A cultural center in Southwest Virginia say they are a haven for Black history. In just 3 minutes, we take you on a tour of the Appalachian African-American Cultural Center and explain why the history from the mountains means so much to American history. The Appalachian African-American Cultural Center in Pennington Gap, Virginia, preserves history of Black people in Appalachia. News Channel 11's Jayana Scurry talked with the founder of the center on the importance of keeping Black history alive in Appalachia.
Nestled in the mountains of Pennington Gap, Virginia, is the Appalachian African-American Cultural Center. But decades before, it was a one-room school for African-American students up to the 7th grade.
It served as the only source of education for the Black children here in Pennington Gap. My mother was in the first group of children to attend school here, and I was in the last group in 1965 when we integrated.
Ron Carson is the founder of the Appalachian African-American Cultural Center. In 1939, his great-great-grandmother, Rachel Scott, saw the need for a school for Black children and provided the land and resources. In the 1980s, Carson and his wife Jill moved back to Pennington Gap and saw that the building was set to be demolished, but put a stop to it.
We didn't really know what we wanted to do with this building until we went to Highlander, the Highlander Education Research Center in New Market, Tennessee. It was there that we discovered that very little had been written on African American in the coal fields of Southwest Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, Northeast Tennessee, Southern West Virginia.
They transformed the one-room school into a cultural center full of historical artifacts, books, photos, and much more memorabilia.
If we walk around this room, we have the first African American lady who was ever elected to a county board in this whole region. My wife was the vice mayor of this town and president of the Virginia Municipal League. My grandfather, Smith Carson, had the first integrated big band back in the 1930s, which was called the Black and White Medley Boys, who played with Louis Armstrong and Elvis Presley. So there's a lot of history that's not being told.
This is the desk that author Alex Haley wrote his iconic book Roots at. 30 years after his death, the Appalachian African-American Culture Center acquired this in 2022.
We have a doctor's medicine chest cabinet there that he used back in the 50s. He was the only doctor at the time that would treat African Americans. We have photographs, a desk that was the original desk in this building, just a series of different things that we have. But most importantly, I think it's our stories that we have documented.
Many school groups come visit the center throughout the year. Carson, along with a team, goes out and teaches anti-racism workshops as well. Carson says it's important for younger generations to know where they came from.
You know, the old saying goes, if you don't know where you came from, how do you know where you're going? African American history is American history. It's our history. It all should just be together. We just need to not be ashamed of where we came from, but to embrace it and to learn from it.
In Pennington Gap, Jayana Scurry, News Channel 11.
We have information on how to schedule an appointment with the Appalachian African American Cultural Center over on our website. That, of course, is WJHL.com. This month, a historical building in Tennessee's oldest town celebrated a decade under its new name. That celebration was held at the McKinney Center located in downtown Jonesboro. The center was formerly the Booker T. Washington School. The school opened its doors for African American students in the community back in 1940 and served that purpose until integration in 1965. A bench and a plaque were also dedicated to honor the staff and faculty that were there. Black history in our region is full of characters who are strong and set an example for future generations. Ahead, we bring you the words of wisdom from the first black nurse at Holston Valley and how she is honored by her community. History, we celebrate the legacy of one woman who helped shape nursing in our region. Growing up in Kingsport, Lola Campbell always wanted to become a nurse, but achieving that dream would be a challenge during segregation. Campbell desegregated the nurse training corps at Holston Valley Medical Center, helping create more nursing opportunities in the region. News Channel 11's Catherine Simpson had the chance to sit down with Campbell and learn more about the obstacles that she faced.
Lola Campbell doesn't know how many phone calls it took to gain admission to Kingsport's nursing school.
I just kept going. I kept calling.
But she knows it took years of work before she finally made a breakthrough in 1960.
They called me on a Friday to tell me that they were starting a class that Monday.
Campbell says the principal assumed she wouldn't be able to complete the necessary paperwork to start that spring, but said she could start in the fall. But that wasn't soon enough for the Kingsport resident.
And with the help of God, my aptitude test and all the things I had to have was done by Friday afternoon. So I walked in, surprisingly, Monday morning.
Earning admission was just the first hurdle, however. Once in training, Campbell contended with doctors who were resistant to change and even patients who refused to be treated by a black woman.
That's just the way things are. I didn't expect them to accept me. I just wanted to go through enough so I can get to be the nurse.
Campbell achieved her goal, spending nearly 30 years as a nurse at Holston Valley Medical Center and eventually earning her RN. But it isn't her own accomplishments that make her most proud. It's a moment from the end of her training year. Campbell says she watched an acquaintance, another black woman, walk out of the nursing office with an application.
And it took me all those years. But every time I think about that, you know it. But that was the moment. For her to walk in and get the application and everything, the doors was open. Finally, the doors was open.
In Kingsport, Catherine Simpson, News Channel 11.
Powerful story. Lola would be honored for all her hard work and courage this Black History Month. Sullivan County Commissioners recognized her for outstanding leadership and exemplary community service at their monthly meeting. The Sullivan County Commission proclaimed February 15th as Lola Campbell Day. Just ahead, an ETSU student is spearheading the movement for better mental health.
I think Appalachia can be a picture of what's happening in the rest of the country as well.
What she's doing to make sure every voice is heard. As we honor Black history, we take a look at a group looking to help the mental health of African Americans in Appalachia. News Channel 11's Gianna Scurry takes a look at a study from an ETSU group that hopes to share data with healthcare providers in the area to better understand the challenges that they may face.
Sarah Muhammad, East Tennessee State University sophomore majoring in psychology, has a passion for mental health. She decided to enter into the ETSU Elevates program with the topic of Black mental health care access. She won the pitch competition, winning a total of $6,000 to conduct a study on Black mental health care in Washington County, Tennessee.
After facing some interesting times with my own mental health during high school, mental health became something that I was really passionate about. And I just became very curious, right? How does the Black community in Washington County feel about their mental health? And are they getting the care that they need to address it if it's poor?
Muhammad partnered with the Northeast Tennessee Association of Black Social Workers to help with the study. Corey Whitfield, former president and current member of the group, says this study helps normalize the conversation of mental health within the Black community.
We in the African American community, we are a strong and we are a resilient group. And as long as we have church and God and family, that we can overcome. And these things are true. But being resilient and being strong in all of these things does not also mean that it does not mean that those things don't come with trouble. And it should be okay for us to be able to say, in spite of the fact that all of these things are surrounding me in my community, I don't feel okay today.
Muhammad says they plan to do outreach into the rural parts of Washington County as well.
Such as Fall Branch, right? And that's where the data I think will really speak, is not just for Johnson City, but for those who may have less access to resources than those who live in the city. I think Appalachia can be a picture of what's happening in the rest of the country as well. So not having access to those things that shape your mental well-being is life-changing, right? Life-changing for the worse. So if we can intervene in those disparities and find out why, then it just creates a better quality of life for the people in the region.
The data from the study will be shared with healthcare providers in the area,
so that patients who come in looking for mental health who are African American can receive the best care possible, so that providers understand what these patients are going through and the concerns that they might have, so that they can address that with dignity and care.
It will let clinicians and practitioners in our environment and in our community know that we need to be a little bit more culturally competent with how we address the African American community when it comes to mental health, because that will make them feel a little bit more comfortable with seeking those services.
Muhammad plans to keep the study open from February to early April. In Johnson City, Gianna Scurry, News Channel 11.
You can watch all these stories and more from our Black History Month coverage over on our website. You can find everything right now over at WJHL.com. That does it for us this evening. Y'all have a good night.